Yes, it is that time of year, as Ted said, when we have our stewardship drive. And this is the day we're doing what we refer to as our kickoff sermon, our kickoff service. Some people refer to this as the Sermon on the Amount. But we won't talk about the amount so much. I've titled this as a commitment to tomorrow, a commitment to tomorrow. But before we look to the future and tomorrow, I want to take a look back to the past for a minute with a story I'm going to share to you. And this story I'm going to share is about the day I gave my dolls away. I was very blessed and privileged in my childhood to own a lot of dolls. My dad always said, Jane gets anything she wants. She just knows how much to want. So indeed, I did get dolls. I got a doll for almost every birthday and Christmas. I was always asking for a doll. Now, these are not pictures of my dolls. I don't have any. But these are similar to the dolls I had in the 50s. You may have had some that look like them too. Of course, you note they were not very diverse in complexion. Now, since my mom was always working in her beauty shop, I entertained myself a lot with these dolls. Her beauty shop was downstairs and I would be upstairs in my room. Fortunately, my brother cared nothing for them, so I did not have to share, you know. He would occasionally act like he was going to harm them, though, just to aggravate me, pull the arm off or something. But most of the time, he left me in my room to pretend, and I would pretend away. The thing I pretended most of all was school. Maybe that's why I ended up being a teacher. I would be the teacher and set the dolls up all watching me, and I would teach them. And if I had known that preaching would have even been a possibility for me, I may have done like John Lewis did when he preached to the chickens, except I'd be preaching to my dolls. In any case, they were extremely important to me. I loved them. I really loved them. Then one year, our church had a campaign to collect good used toys that could easily be updated or for others, or new toys. And the preacher asked us to commit to bringing one toy to Sunday school for this toy drive for children who were less fortunate and had no toys. I made the commitment. Then when I got home, I put all my dolls in a row to decide which one I would give up. It was a very hard decision. But as I thought about the children with no dolls, it became a little easier. I did not need all these dolls. I think that is the first time I really began to understand how my privilege was denying others of the possibilities of enjoying life. I made a decision. I decided to give these cherished dolls away. I did keep two back who were like sisters to me, but I gently loaded all of the others into my little red wagon and pulled them down the block to the church. As a child, this was a moment of awakening for me. I had been proud to have all those dolls. Then I realized that was not anything to be proud of. And I gained a new sense of pride in giving them to others. I've tried to remember that lesson since then. Having lots of stuff is nothing to be proud of. Yes, I do have possessions I enjoy, but I take greater pride in giving things and money to others who need them more than I do. I have made a commitment to keep the dolls that I really need for a good life and give the others away. In his message on commitment, Reverend Justin Osterman says, to commit means different things. As a transitive verb with a direct object, commit means to put something somewhere. You commit funds to a project. You commit a dead body into the ground, or a live person into a mental institution, or you entrust a responsibility into someone's care, like maybe a committee. You can also commit a crime or commit yourself to a relationship. In the transitive sense, committed can be good news or bad news. As an intransitive verb with no direct object, we commit ourselves to a course of action. We make a promise or a pledge, obligating ourselves to something. Now, many preachers know that talking about giving money can be kind of tough for congregations to hear. So we are encouraged to lighten up these sermons on the amount. Like when we do these stewardship sermons, they should always have a joke to lighten it up. So folks, here is your joke. Oops. For the sermon. I messed up. I'm sorry. Got to do this slide first. You'll get the joke. It's coming. I'm going to promise to give you the joke. But this verse, what does it mean to commit yourself in 2020? In 2020, when things are so difficult for us in so many ways, we have many things we're called on to commit to. For example, I hope you have committed to voting this year and have made a plan on how you will vote. I hope you have committed to your own mental and physical well-being at this difficult time and will call on others to help out if you need it. I hope you are committed to finding out the truth. Don't post that first meme you see that sounds a little odd. Committing to finding out the truth, the facts, the science as we make decisions for ourselves, our families, and our communities. I hope you are committed to justice where there are so many unjust occurrences in our society and in our nation. We need that commitment now as much as any time. But today, I'm asking specifically that you commit to your congregation, the community of faith that has been so meaningful to many of us. And now I have the stewardship joke. Okay, here it comes. The visiting preacher was getting the congregation moving, wanted to move the congregation. Near the end of his sermon, he said, the church has really got to walk, to which someone in the back yelled, said, "Let her walk, preacher, let her walk." Then the preacher said, if this congregation is going to go, it's got to get up and run, to which someone yelled again with gusto, "Let her run, preacher." Feeling the surge of the church, the preacher then said with even louder gusto, if this church is going to go, it's got to really fly. And once again, with even greater gusto, someone yelled, "Let her fly, preacher, let her fly." The preacher then seized the moment, yes, and started with even greater gusto. He said, if this church is going to fly, it's going to need money. To which someone in the back yelled, "Let her walk, preacher, let her walk." Well, I don't want to make the same mistake as that preacher. So I won't ask you to let her fly. But I would like for us to commit to a pace that will make sure we are looking to a strong tomorrow, a good future for our much needed faith tradition here in Southeast Georgia. Our UU congregations serve as beacons of liberal religious light in Southeast Georgia. We shine our light so that folks can find us, find a place where they can be themselves, like Joe was talking about in that poem, be themselves and grow spiritually together with others. And we don't only shine our light out for folks to find us, we shine our lights on to things in our communities, on systemic racism, economic marginalization, environmental devastation, increasing militarization, mass incarceration, human exploitation, civic degradation, political polarization, and the criminalization of immigration and more. all of which are being sanctioned by people at the highest levels of government and encouraged right here in our communities via social media and more. We need to keep these lights on in Southeast Georgia, folks. We have to continue to let our lights shine. Even within the darkness of 2020, even within the darkness of 2020. Oops, going backwards. Got to go forward, folks, got to go forward. In April, the author Susanna Adhadranda Roy wrote this: historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. Pandemics can be a time of turning, folks. This one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. We can choose to walk through it, dragging the carcasses of our prejudice and hatred, of our avarice, our data banks, and our dead ideas, our dead rivers and smoky skies behind us. Or we can walk through lightly with little luggage, ready to imagine another world and ready to fight for it. So today, I don't want to be too discouraged. I want to share the hopeful message that our choir shared and that Annie shared. I changed the words a little bit, but you can join in with me in singing this part. The sun will come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come what may. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, it's only a day away. Yes, I'm asking you to commit yourselves to tomorrow, to the future of our congregations, to keep our lights shining in Southeast Georgia. Today, we are kicking off our annual stewardship drives. We're going to be sharing plans after the service with each congregation concerning the specific mechanisms of how we will get materials to you and how you can respond. Now, we are not asking you to write a check right now. We are asking for you to make a commitment for the tomorrow of 2021 and our ongoing ministries. We need your commitment of financial gifts so we can prepare our budgets. And we need for you to be generous during these times with us and others. Of course, you need to keep what you need and prepare for your needs in the future. But many of us are in a position to simplify our own needs and share with others for the tomorrows that we're so hopeful for. Indeed, I kept 2 of those dolls. I needed them, but I didn't need all of them. So take some time to really consider how you can help us. And if at this time in your life you can increase your gifts, we hope that you will. For indeed, there are others having a more difficult time who may need our help. We also need for you to consider how you can share your time and talents with us. So often we call on the same folks over and over again, and we are so grateful for their service. But we all can do something. Perhaps for some of you, it's sending out cards to folks. For others, it may be teaching an RE class via Zoom or in person after we get back to that. Think creatively of what you may be able to contribute to us. We'll share more of our specific needs in the breakouts after church for each congregation. And we need for some of you to step up and provide leadership to our committees and our teams. If you're willing to take a more active part, let us know. Now, Barbara Strauss, our co-chair for the Financial Committee Stewardship Campaign in Brunswick, has shared several times with me that she was so disappointed that in this service, we couldn't have balloons as we kicked off the campaign. So I'm going to end this sermon by saying thank you for the commitments that I know you will make. And Barbara and others, here are your balloons.